Golden Threads paper is a great solution when you want to mark your quilting design, but you don't want to mark your quilt. Come with me and I'll show you how it works.
Hey guys, welcome back to Frances Quilts. My name is Frances Arnold and I'm so glad you're in my studio today. This week I'm thinking about the quilting that I'm going to be doing on this Quilt of Valor. It has been pieced by my friend Marnie and she did most of the design work on it as well. And now it's my turn to add some really fun quilting. Then we're going to give it to a gentleman in our church that we're very excited to present this to him. The one thing that I do know on this quilt is that I want to put something special in this top and bottom border. And what I'm thinking about is a flag design, something like this. And yes, if you're looking at it and saying, that looks like a pantograph, well, that's where I got my idea from. I think it'll look really nice to have this flowing along the top of that quilt. But the question is, how am I going to get that up there? Do I have the skill to freehand it? Can I just add a few little guidelines and maybe be able to freehand it? Or what do I want to do? Well, this morning I had an epiphany of something that I used many years ago called Golden Threads paper. It comes on a long roll, and as you can see, it's fairly see-through, so it'd be very easy to trace a design on. But the best thing about Golden Threads paper is how well it tears. I can take it and simply do that, and it tears easily. It doesn't have a lot of little fluffies on the edges or anything like that. What I did this morning is I printed out my design and I traced a couple of them onto the Golden Threads paper. I then put my quilt sandwich together. And pinned this paper to the top. Now let me tell you what I did the first time I ever used this paper. I was using safety pins to baste at that point in time, and when I put the paper over and I quilted and I thought, wow, that was so easy. Then when I ripped up the paper, I realized that I had quilted over my safety pins. So that didn't work so well. So I've learned now, take the safety pins out before you put the paper down. So now it's ready for us to go. Let's go to the machine and see how it quilts. Okay, we have everything all layered up and we have our piece pinned over the top here. I did just a little playing back here just to see how my tension was looking. Obviously, when I'm quilting the Quilt of Valor, I'm not going to use a bright pink thread, but since that's what's on the machine and it will show up nicely for this filming, that's what I'm going to use for this sample. I tried using my glove on here, but honestly, it does not stick very well. I decided instead to use my Martelli pads. They hold really well. They're not going anywhere, so we're going to just play with these and see if that works. So let's just first head over up to here so that we're ready to start our stitching right here. Remember, on the real thing, there will be another flag over this way. And let's just start. I'm sticking fairly close to the design that's on the paper, but if I mess up, remember the paper's going to be going away. Now I could use my ruler to do this, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm trying to keep my stitch length a little bit shorter, just simply to help this paper when I have to rip it off. Let's keep going. This is really quite relaxing because I'm not having to think, I'm just following those lines. Let's go again. All right, let's see how easily it comes off. I'm just going to take an edge and start tearing. I'm going to come up to this line. Oh, that was nice and easy. Of course, that was a big piece. Let's try the next one. That one's not doing as well. Okay, I think it's easier to come this direction. So I've got some little pieces there I'll have to deal with. I'm going to take my purple thing, and you could use a stiletto or anything like that, and just see what happens if I use that. Oh yes, that's much better to do. Just come under there and then pull off those little bits right there. They're going to come off pretty easy. Yep. That one in the corner. Use the rubber end of that little thing to take that one off. Come under here. I think it's easier just to let it rip where it's going to rip and not feel like you have to keep it in straight lines. The purple thing is really good to use because it doesn't have a point right here. If I was using my stiletto, I would probably be having trouble with getting under, the point would get underneath these stitches, and I might have some issues that way. Okay, there are a few little bits here that I need to get off. All piece right there. There we go. That looks really good. Obviously, I have one little place right here that it pulled the stitch up just a little bit when I was pulling the paper off. And there's a couple of little bits in there, but they're going to come out as I'm washing or handling this quilt. Let me get the paper off the other one, and then we'll have a good look at the whole thing. Wow, I really like how this looks. And it was so relaxing just to quilt along, following those lines, sometimes not following those lines, but as you can see, it turned out looking great. So that's it. My test worked well, so I know that I can do it that way if I want to. Like I said, I may try to figure out how to freehand it, but if not, golden threads is the way I'm going. One more hint for using golden threads paper. If you have a whole bunch of designs that you want to put, they're all exactly the same and you want to put them all over the quilt, but you really don't want to have to draw out that design, 25 times or however many blocks you're trying to fill. Instead, do this. Draw it on one piece of paper, stack up maybe 7 more pieces of the paper so you have 8 of them together. Now I want you to unthread your machine. Nothing in the needle, nothing in the bobbin area. We're going to just have that needle stitching. We're going to take all of those stacks together, put them under the needle, and we're going to stitch around that design. What it's doing is it's perforating all the way through those. So now you've stitched it one time and you have 8 different patterns ready for you to use. And one thing that is nice about it too is that once you have stitched through it that first time and you've perforated that paper, when you stitch through it the next time to do the quilting, that paper just shreds off. Super easy to get it off. And finally, golden threads paper is magnificent for paper piecing. If you've never tried it for that, give it a try. I hope you learned something new here today. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. Well guys, thank you so much for joining me here today. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next time on Frances Quilts.
Remember, if you like what you've seen, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please check out my website and daily blog at francesquilts.com, and I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at Frances Quilts. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you again soon.